Hey, Ryan. Grateful to be here. I'm a member of Alcoholics Anonymous in good standings. You work around this town, you come to meetings, and you go just about anywhere. And it's always uplifting to run into another member of Alcoholics Anonymous. And usually we got something on our minds all the time, so it's no coincidence that, our fellow brothers and sisters just show up at the right time. It's been my experience, and maybe you've experienced that too, or maybe you've been walking down the aisle and see someone you hadn't made an amends to, and there's that opportunity. And I tell you, I have walked away from that opportunity, and I would suggest go ahead and make that amends, because if you do not, you get to walk away with all that same stuff. And maybe there's another opportunity, but I'm here to share in a general way. I think they say in a general way is a way of putting it, because I've probably lived, or I know I lived a good while existing, and I'm pretty sure I know what a blackout is. So a general way is describing from what I can remember what it was like, what happened, and what it's like today. And I appreciate that introduction, Tim. So my sobriety date is September 20th, 2008. Woo! Y'all know how quick 14 years passes? It passes pretty quick when you're engaged. And I've tried to stay engaged in Alcoholics Anonymous, and life is interesting. And if I stay engaged, I'm much better equipped to face life on a daily basis. Because y'all feel me, some days are a whole lot easier than others. So September 20th, 2008, got a sponsor who has a sponsor, and from a good sponsor line. I know where it began to. It began with Bill and Bob, way on back in the day. Two men just getting together and sharing the message. I'm grateful for the men that came before me, and I'm grateful for the time that I have too, the old timers that I've had the privilege of hearing share, and just a wealth of them old gold nuggets. You stick them in your pocket and you don't think you retain them, but then somewhere down the line you get to share, something someone has shared with you, and stick around. So I grew up. It takes a lot to grow up, don't it? Especially at age 33, when you come and you've tried to live your life best you can. But I grew up in Pinebluff, not far from here, probably 10, 15 minutes. Mother and father. My older brother Richard spoke not long ago. We were good friends, good brothers. He didn't pressure me into anything. I partook in it. I think the first thing we smoked was oak leaves wrapped up in notebook paper underneath the deck out back, and that's some pretty raw stuff. My father was an alcoholic. He went to AA for a time, had old Crockett for a sponsor. I remember being a kid and hearing that my dad's sponsor was David Crockett. I didn't know what a sponsor was, but I knew it was a pretty important cat. So I don't remember much about my dad being sober, but I remember him drinking some Black Jack Daniels, and it would bring the devil out in him. And Mama did the best she could. Alcoholic home, it's normal life. Two boys digging dirt, forts, and just playing hard. I will share this. My dad bought me a BB gun. He said, "Son, don't kill anything you're not going to eat. Don't go around shooting out street lights or windshields." And I agreed to that. But I had a good shot on this cardinal or a sparrow. I'm pretty sure it was a sparrow up at my grandma's. and I had a shot on and click, click. Didn't make no sound. It was a BB gun, y'all, but I killed that bird graveyard dead. And he falls to the ground, and I go up and I look at my prize kill, and I'm proud of him. And then I made him etch him just a little bit, and I want him to get up and fly away, and he doesn't move. And so then I look around to make sure nobody's watching, and then I cover him up with some leaves. And from that day on, I'm a murderer. May not seem like a big deal, but I have now taken a life. I share that story. You know, we have life experiences where we just want to cover that stuff up and look around and make sure nobody's seen the actions that I've taken. And then, I carry that kind of stuff with me from a child onward. I shot out the street lights, and I also shot the windshields. So I can get guidance and suggestions from my parents. And, I didn't get the script on God give me whatever He gives every other child, self-will. I just try to do the best at living that I can. Anyways, growing up in Pinebluff, learned to swim at Pinebluff Lake, drank the water, and some people say, you swim in that lake? I said, yeah. They say it's the color of sweet tea. But I'd like to blame it on the water in Pine Bluff that made me a little crazy. I don't know whether or not I was born with this disease or I acquired it, but I do believe in it is an illness of sorts. And it's a family disease. I don't know, genetics, it doesn't really matter what I think. I just know I got it, and if I don't treat it, then it'll sure treat me. Growing up, did all right in school, just enough to get by. Started smoking grass at a young age, still in little bits of grass from my dad. He had his sock rolled up in his middle drawer, and you had to remember exactly the way you took it out before you take your little stuff and then put it back so you wouldn't get busted. First taste of alcohol was probably at a pig and chicken picking. Mom and dad partying over there. I think we got a hold of some wine. I remember jumping off of some sand cliffs and having a good time. I don't remember euphoria, coming across me with my early drinking. I don't know much about the taste. I think we discovered a 40-ounce Budweiser that somebody had thrown in a bamboo patch. We always had a fork. Take that old 40-ounce out there and hit on that thing. Anybody ever drank some skunk beer, been sent a little bit? But we're going to get it in us. Later on, that thought of getting it in you, y'all, anybody here get accidentally drunk? Well, I didn't mean to get that messed up, but man, shoot, we ain't gonna stop it now. There's no way to get off of it. I hate that spinning too, laying down. And then you raise up and then stop. And then you lay back down. It's you're just better off going and talking to that big weight white throne getting it out of you. Your body rejects these things. I was thinking about cigarettes too. I remember I'd about want to quit smoking now just so I could go back to smoking and catch that little bit of buzz. But that sick green feeling, that Pinocchio experience, your body's telling you this ain't good for you. But not with alcohol. Always hung out with the older kids. Like I say, my brother, he wasn't the best of influences. But I was not forced to put anything in my body that I didn't take. Hanging out with older guys, I mixed Bartles and James and maybe some brown liquor and some beer all together on an empty stomach. And it's not pretty. I'd always make sure I had enough alcohol, but not enough food. Yeah, I remember drinking, and we take plenty of alcohol, and somebody would bring a loaf of white bunny bread and some of them red Jesse Jones hot dogs. And I don't know, I remember, like I say, the spinning and having to roll out of the tent, and y'all remember the stomach muscles getting all tensed up with the yellow bile. Oh boy. And then I repeated that process. Like I say, I put it in me. I couldn't really process large amounts of alcohol. And I never really wanted to go past getting right here, but there's no magic shut off to turn it off once I've begun. And I always made sure I had enough for me. And if I got low, I'm not going to share with you. Sorry. You know how your alcoholism want to protect yourself. So anyways, let me see. I was a fine attribute of a young man. I used to work for a bunch of little old widow ladies there in Pinebluff, and good word spread around about this fine young man, and I would save $10, $12, $8 at the time. So by the time I got out of high school, I had accumulated, a couple $1,000. Worked in carpentry for a time, and went to Alaska with my old boss man. And I don't know what drove me to go so far from home, but it's 5,500 miles. I absolutely loved it, enjoyed myself. Let me back up just a second. I wasn't lost, all right, because nobody found me. But a group of us went up to go do the Uwharrie River. Been doing the Uwharrie River for years and years, and we got any heroes out there? People trying to be the hero. Well, I would suggest not going by yourself alone to go find the truck. Take somebody with the boat, in the boat with you. I got lost. I didn't get lost. I was misplaced. Way up in the woods. That's aside to the fact. Like I say, I saved money. I'm a good saver today. While everybody else was buying them quarter bags, I'd buy a dime bag. Drank a lot of Milwaukee's Best. Anybody here drink that beast? Skipped school a little bit, and that stuff used to be cheap. And sit around and had a trailer out back. A whole lot of stuff went down in that trailer. We won't do a 4-step up here, but sitting around playing the guitar like a Rolling Stone, Bob Dylan, and having a good old time. So I went to Alaska, and you can get away with a whole lot when you don't have nobody to be accountable to. No family. Of course, I'm calling back to home, writing letters to Grandma and Grandpa. But I got mixed up with some women that I wouldn't like to share. I don't like messing around with married women. I wouldn't want to be married to a woman and anybody mess around with my wife. But I did. And she kicked me out one night. I wanted to sleep in her grow room. And so I was homeless in Alaska for a time. I slept in a van. Cruised around after church one Saturday and hooked up with the homeless guys back behind a Fred Meyer's. And like I said, I had plenty of money, so I bought us a bottle. And if you buy the bottle and you're passing it around, you want to make sure you get yours. Yet again, I got accidentally drunk, started puking. The guys were kind enough to walk me home to my place in Spenard. And I wrote it in a journal, and I said, you know, these guys, natives, they appear to be really kind fellas. They told me not to walk between like 32nd and 39th Street. There's young punks that beat up on the drunks as they stagger by. And I said, they appear to be good fellas, but most of them appear to be alcoholics. And that was at age 18. So I'm able to identify alcoholics. So much easier to see it in others than to recognize it in yourself. You know, like I say, I do believe I suffer from an illness that tells me I ain't got one. And so I'll stay in Alaska for a time. I'm just a young man, like age 18, 19, living a dream-like life. You ever get the opportunity to go to Alaska, go. It is the last frontier. It's wild. If you like to fish, if you like to eat fresh fish, you like to bottom fish for halibut and cook it like a London broil on an open flame. You like to stay up late because it's like sunlight at like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 22 hours of daylight. You can play hard. I hope to go back sometime. I keep having children, and they're my Alaskan trip. Maybe one day I'll be able to take my whole family up there. If I believe it to be possible and take the right steps, I can make that happen. So my father and mother and my younger brother and my grandparents and some good friends came up from right here and came up to Alaska and got to experience that with them, and came on back to North Carolina. And when I got back to North Carolina, I wasn't here long. I ended up going back to Kansas and taking my first victim. She was my childhood sweetheart. And I say taking my first victim. I was engaged to, like I say, I tried to be a hero. I went and picked up this woman thinking I was going to save her or whatnot. But it was a good relationship. I remember coming into Alcoholics Anonymous and my sponsor asking me if you got two people you greatly dislike. Yeah, I got them all right. Well, she was one of those. Like I say, I'm grateful for good sponsorship because it directs me, gets me doing some things I don't even know how that stuff works. So, married this young lady. I share UPS, unprotected premarital sex. Woo! Conceive a child out of wedlock and decide it's a good idea to get married. Not that it's the wrong reason, but it just hasn't worked out in my experience. I've tried it twice. So we have our daughter, Macy Ryan, was born, and my life was immediately changed, man. It's not real until it's real, and then it's real and in your hands, and you look at this child, and oh man, just to know a love that I couldn't have known otherwise, and just to be in love with something outside of myself, and you know, it's a beautiful thing. And now I'm a grandpa. She just gave me a granddaughter not about 3 or 4 months ago. Got to visit her just the other day and sharing her joy. So when she was born, man, like I say, I cried. I said, oh, it's just a little girl. And thought the doctor was going to cut off her big toe, but he didn't. She still got all 10 of them. And she had a great impact in my life. Alcohol was with me this whole time. And it's in the hospital with me that night. I'm sneaking bush beers in the hospital with me. Ain't nothing wrong with it, but like I say, alcohol is consistently part of my life. And before we had that child, there'd be a party going on, and my fiance would want me to go lay down in the tent with her. But there's a campfire going on, and there's a party going on, and I can't rest and be with her because I'm gonna miss out on something. And I'm gonna miss out on something. So I couldn't rest if there was a party going on. And I had to go join it and run around the campfire like an Indian and play the guitar and do that such. But I tell you I love you, but my actions tell you otherwise. So my daughter was born. I'm a carpenter by trade, still got all 10 fingers. I work real hard, so I am entitled to play real hard. Are we not? And I say play real hard. I just want to catch a good buzz. I love catching a good buzz, and it agreed with me, and it worked great for a while. As for fears, I try not to take myself too serious. Kind of go with the punches. I say go with the punches, not that life's trying to beat me up. I'm just trying to do the best I can. As for mentally, I couldn't really tell you. I can tell you I quit maturing emotionally at age 13, 14, when I started getting high and drinking. And, selfishness, self-centeredness. Like I say, I tell you I love you, but I'm going to do what the hell I want to. I'm sorry if you're upset about it. I'm not going to say those things because I got a high opinion of who I am, and think I'm a pretty good guy. But later on, doing my inventory in the 4th step, revealed some things to me that I wasn't the great guy that I thought that I was, to some extent. Not that there's everything bad about me. I do believe I was created to be a dad. And those children are by no means a mistake. Even if they weren't planned, if I'd have waited to have children when I was ready, I don't think I'd ever had them. But they were placed into my life. So I have a second son with my first wife, and things, like I say, I've heard it shared to take hostages. Really, I didn't get a script on how to be a good husband or a helpmate. Alcoholism's just I'm going to do what I want to do. And I remember going out fishing on the beach, and I would just get so giddy when I'd finally have the kids and the wife laid down, and I'm running out to the beach with my fishing poles and my cooler full of beers, and then fishing, ended up staying up in the morning, and then having to sleep half the day next day, and kids want me to get up and out to the beach, and I just ain't physically able. So I don't even know that alcohol is it's attached to me, and I can't, I'm not going to go anywhere without it. And so I want to say I run this woman out of my life. Later on, my sponsor helped me understand that she made some decisions and did an act that she didn't do it to me. Awful sensitive. Take stuff so personal, but those were some hard times when you believe that life is supposed to turn out a certain way, and this person's supposed to act in accordance, and things are going on, and you're not going to allow yourself to believe that these things are happening. Alcohol's working at this time, y'all. I needed it. I needed it in my body, and it was a coping mechanism to allow me to just be okay. And I'm grateful that it worked for as long as it did. And then, so that relationship ended, and I guess my life as a bachelor for a little while. Heavy drinking, she dropped the kids off, and I'd wave to her at the door, and the kids come in, and they learn to fix themselves a lot of cereal. Trying to be the best dad I possibly can at this time. I didn't do all that bad. I did the best I could, and I said my father's an alcoholic. I believe that he did the best that he possibly could. I believe that. I don't know what his alcoholism looked like. So, like I say, that marriage ended, and I stayed single for a couple years, and I got victim number 2, UPS, again. So I got obsessions other than alcohol. And yeah, I know what causes it. I ain't ready to stop doing it. I did finally get my tubes tied in sobriety. I've had 2 sober babies. But I took my second victim, and this marriage, it didn't last too long. I think it was about 2 years, and she had you tell your significant other that you love them, but your actions don't speak anything of love. But they stick around until they don't. They stick around probably longer than they should have. So these resentments, being the number one offender, I had all kinds of resentments toward this second wife, and then wife number 1 and wife number 2 befriended each other. Oh, y'all laughing? That ain't funny. That's making my drinking and my lifestyle more difficult. Teaming up on me. Now I'm a victim. Doggone. Towards the end of my drinking, I was telling wife number 2, she was telling wife number 1 stuff that I would talk to her in confidence that she wouldn't share with wife number 1. And I said, it's like you're feeding information to the enemy. So here's the phone from the Wicked Witch of the West, and and it's the mother of my children, and it could be my daughter calling, but I wouldn't want to answer that phone. Fear, because I know it ain't never good, but it could be my daughter calling, so I'll answer that phone. This is Ryan speaking. Oh, so now I'm the enemy, the mother of your kids. I should have learned there that to keep your mouth shut. You don't have to say everything you speak, but I didn't learn it. not that quick. So that second wife, I made her feel like a prisoner in her own home. I tell you I love you, but my actions just don't speak that of love. And alcohol had ceased to work the way that it once did. I remember not trying to not drink, because I put in the child custody with my first wife that kids weren't supposed to have any overnight guest of the opposite sex stay in the house while the kids were there, and I put that in the child custody agreement to try and control her. I know today, and what she had the balls to put in there was that the kids weren't supposed to be exposed to drugs or alcohol. What? But I'd been drinking, and the smoking on the side. I didn't ever blaze in front of my kids or anything, but I was under the influence many times. So, anyways, the two wives were friending each other, and they wanted to exert that no drugs or alcohol. And I remember, surely a man can stay sober for his kids just one weekend. Y'all know about the mental obsession that says, I love you, but I got to go. I got to go get something. And this is all mental. I mean, I've got everything that I should want to make a man happy there. Beautiful wife, kids, food in the fridge. But I've got this thing in me that tells me I got to go get something. And so I say, well, I'm going to go out to the post office and check the mail. I wasn't gone 2 weeks. I know it's mental because when I put my key in the ignition to go get it, I'm already getting some ease and comfort. I'm going to be okay. I know that's mental. And so, just a couple beers later, I'm like, what in the world was I making such a big deal out of this? Used to have a lot of dirt roads I could ride on the way back to home. Turkey Farm Road. And did a little bit of drinking and driving. I say a little bit. I could have killed somebody, killed myself, and kids could not have a father today, but I had one good eye hanging out the door. And it's amazing that we make it home safe. I do believe we're covered by a host of angels. So that second wife, like I say, they befriended each other, and I remember that. That's the only time that I ever really tried not to drink, and I still had to drink. I know that it says in the doctor's opinion, it gives account, understanding stuff that we could not otherwise, put two and two together, and that makes sense. Today, an allergy of sorts. Like poison ivy. Shoot. So I told you alcohol quit working long before I stopped putting it in my body. And it came to a point where it was, I will share, I would, like I said, work hard, so I play hard, 12-pack of Budweiser, and a fifth of hot Relsky vodka in the old beat-down truck outside. And I'm going in saying hey to her, and there's always something I got to do outside. I also used to like to put beers in my pockets and go work on something underneath the house and hear the running of kids up there and just sit down and enjoy a few beers underneath my house. But I'd go back outside because there's something I always had to do, and I'd take one of them hot Budweisers and I'd do some of this drinking right here. tell you, I ain't drinking for taste. You drink some hot Rescue vodka out of the back of an old truck, been sitting out there all day, and chase it with a Budweiser. And, but I gotta get it in me. I gotta get enough in me in a relatively short time. If you make daiquiris and you don't taste the liquor, it ain't got enough liquor in it. Sorry, y'all. Like I say, the alcohol quit doing for me what it once did. Because towards the end, I was feeling all the anxiety and the impending doom. And it used to work. Y'all ever feel some impending doom under influence and figure you pour more alcohol on it and it go away? And it worked for a long time. But doggone, it ain't working now, and I ain't even drunk. I'm pissed off, and I ain't feeling well, and it ain't working no more. Why ain't it working? Ugh. That's a great place to be. You're getting pretty close to the end. I'll try to put more substances in me, and it ain't changing the way I feel. It ain't changing the way I feel, and I don't like feeling this way. But I'm getting close to the end. Thank goodness that it did that. So I went camping, and I knew this second wife was going to exit this marriage, and I knew what the first experience with divorce felt like, and I didn't want to experience that. But I went camping, and like I said, I put it in me, and it did nothing. I knew what was going down. So when I got back from that camping trip, she called up and gave me the ultimatum: quit drinking and go through a program of recovery, or I ain't coming back. I said, well, okay. We'd gone to a marriage counselor couple blocks from here, and that sucker charged us like, was it $75 or $125 an hour? Asking me questions like how much you drink, and obviously lying to them. If you lie to someone who you're paying $125 an hour to for help, you're not gonna really gain. You're just gonna pay. Blah. But she gave me that ultimatum, and he had suggested I go to Sandhills Mental Health. What? Sandhills Mental Health? That would imply that there's something wrong with my mental status. Surely. So she gave me that ultimatum, and I believe in my own experience that there was some changes already taking place. I'm sitting on a hammock with a Budweiser in hand, pulling myself on the string, and I knew something was going to be different. I didn't know what, but kind of made a mental image of my heavenly father and my earthly father just smiling at me. My father's deceased at this time, and he'd always get this shit-eating grin on his face before he was about to do something crazy. But he was just smiling on me, and I was okay. Like I say, something's going to be different. I didn't know what. And so I drank myself to sleep that night and woke up probably in a panic, maybe 4 a.m, and went back out to the back of my truck and popped open a hot Budweiser. And a moment of clarity came upon me with the street light shining on that silver top. And I said, Ryan, what are you doing to yourself? And that moment of clarity, which I'd had moments of clarity riding down the road in my truck, thinking I need to change something. If I don't change something, something bad's going to happen. But I never saw alcohol or my consumption as being a problem. But this night, what are you doing to yourself? And I pulled that old Budweiser out. And I guess I went to sleep that night. And woke up. I don't think I went to Sand Hills Mental Health that next day, but I was willing to do whatever needed to be done because it had quit working. And so I went to that Sand Hills Mental Health and spoke with the counselor there. I remember walking up the stairs, and there was a guy there that hadn't gone in yet, and he said, man, you ain't have the shakes or nothing? I said, nah, I hadn't. It just wasn't my experience. I didn't do a whole lot of morning drinking either, unless the Budweiser had a tiny little spew that went out and I didn't want to waste it. I hate alcohol abuse. I feel even bad about pouring that last beer out. Shoot, give it to somebody who can use it. That's just crazy. So I went to Sand Hills Mental Health, and guess where they sent me? Alcoholics Anonymous. She suggested I go to the Wilder building. I think I told her I had a brother who was in the fellowship, and she said maybe you ought to hang out with him a little bit. And so I went to, I practiced this thing called fasting. I went without food or water from sundown to sundown. Asked God of my understanding, Alcoholics Anonymous, is this where you'd have me be? Or, I'm seeking answers or seeking some guidance. Y'all know what I heard. I didn't hear anything. It was pretty silent. And I know today that's a miracle all of its own. That I didn't have the mental obsession that the alcohol was done. So I said, well, I guess I'm going to go back to AA. We'll go to Alcoholics Anonymous like they suggested, and went to the Wilder building, and it was a men's meeting. I don't remember what was shared. I remember this old scruffy Lee, I can't remember his last name, talking like that. He said, hey Ron, he said, you coming to visit, or you coming to join? I said, I don't know. And it was an honest answer. I don't know. I'm just here. They told me to come here. And so I got a sponsor about 2 or 3 days. And he don't do it near as much as rocking as he used to. Frank B's my sponsor. Y'all known him for a while. He used to do a whole lot of rocking. Good sponsor. Yeah. He said, smoke a cigarette out front. He said, you got a sponsor? Yeah. I said, no, I ain't got a sponsor. He said, you don't get a sponsor, you gonna drink. And like I said, he had quit working. So I said, well, how do you get a sponsor? It's a spiritual principle to ask questions if you don't know something. He said, well, all we got to do is ask somebody. So I said, well, will you be my sponsor? He said, well, let me ask you 2 questions. Are you willing to go to any length for victory over alcohol? And are you really late this time? I don't want you to answer now. I want you to go home this evening and think about it, and give me a call certain time tomorrow, and we'll talk then. So I don't know that I went home and contemplated those questions too much, but they told me to go here, so I went here and say you need to get a sponsor. You don't want to drink. I don't want to drink, so I got a sponsor. So I called him the next day and agreed to those 2 requirements. They're straight out of the big book. Now, willing to go to any lengths, I'll just say that's a loaded question. Any lengths means any lengths. It's like, all right, well, either I'm willing or I'm not. And, it's the easier, softer way is to be willing and to try to stay humble. Because I hate being humiliated. Is there a clock in here? I don't know. Huh? 7:56. It's 7:56. We got 4 minutes. 7:56. What? Where did we get down here at 8? Well, I got sober, y'all. I swear I'm sober today. I am so grateful for Alcoholics Anonymous. I love corrections work. They just closed our facilities down. I spoke with Daniel earlier. We're going to try and get linked up with him and carry a message of hope. You know, we're sick and still suffering. Any opportunity that I have, try to share from my heart and give my heart and just make myself available. You know, I've worked with a lot of men, and I've had 100% results. I am sober today by the grace of Alcoholics Anonymous and God of my understanding. I'd love for everybody to experience the freedom that comes with working the steps and applying it to your life and receiving a power greater into your life that can, you know, it's like a big old redo button at life, you know, and I know what it's like to experience hell, and I don't want to return to that. I know what it's like to be locked up in prison, your own mind, with or without a drink of alcohol, in sobriety. But there's like I say, the easier, softer way is to remain humble and teachable one day at a time. And I cannot believe it's 7:56. Well, I'll pull a Forrest Gump. I got to go pee. If no one's told you they love you today, I love you. I love you, and you know, you're worth loving, worth saving. Everybody has an opportunity. You know, some have grave emotional scars that, you know, we can't live, and some don't get it. Man, I've had good friends pass away in this program, and you know, I just want to tell you I love you, and thank you guys for having me today. Thanks.